Please be seated. Today is the first Sunday in Advent. It is the beginning of a new church year. And it's a time when we are in anticipation and waiting and watching for the Messiah, Jesus, to come a second time. We are sort of in an in-between stage. We've had the arrival of Jesus, born in Bethlehem, and the Messiah. Yet, we're now waiting for the second coming. We're called to be watchful and expecting the arrival of Christ at any time. We're between these two events, and the gospel today sort of points that out, that like in the time of Noah, nobody expected it. Their lives were going on as normal. Noah entered the ark, the flood hit, and washed everyone away. And they didn't expect it. They weren't watching and waiting. And we are called to watch and wait. This gospel is part of the Olivet disclosure. It's a disclosure that's named that way because Jesus was on the Mount of Olives when he sat down and disclosed all this information. And this is a piece of it that he disclosed to them. The disciples were concerned. They wanted a heads up. They wanted to be forewarned. They wanted to know, when will this temple be destroyed? And what will be the signs so we will know when you are returning a second time? They just wanted to know. They wanted to be forewarned. They wanted a heads up. They didn't want to be caught like the people in the time of Noah. So when we look back at the full disclosure to see how we got to this part of the gospel, we find that Jesus was in the temple, and he came out of the temple with his disciples, and he said that not one stone would be left upon another. This would all be torn down. The temple would be destroyed. And then they walked over to the Mount of Olives. It's about a 1.5 mile walk. You go down into the valley and come up the other side, and you're above the Temple Mount and looking down at the Temple Mount from the Mount of Olives. And Jesus sat down up there, and then that's when the disciples asked him the questions. When will this occur? When will this happen? How will we know? And Jesus answered them, only the Father knows. But he did say that there would be wars and famines, and there would be tribulations, like in the book of Daniel, and that the disciples would be handed over and tried and persecuted, and some of them killed. And immediately after that, the Son of Man will come in glory. This is image of the future some people try to fit in today's world because of the plagues and the famines and the starvation and the wars. But he also warns, don't be fooled by false prophets, people who come in his name and try to project when all of this will happen. So we are called to watch and wait in anticipation and just be observant and wait. Several weeks ago, I had to sit in the waiting room while my wife had this experimental surgery on her back. And there's a monitor, and they give you a number. And as you sit there, the monitor will change colors for that person and tell you where they are and what's going on. Are they in pre-op? Are they in surgery? Are they in recovery? Are they ready for release? And I sat there waiting and watching and waiting and watching. And then all of a sudden I realized the waiting and watching is not going to change the situation. Only the surgeon knows what's going on and controls that. So I stopped and I decided to sit and pray. And I took one of the books for the course on sacred ground and would read part of the book and pray. And the time went faster. And my anxiety over the changing of the colors was reduced. That's the same way that we are called to wait and watch and pray and be observant, knowing that we have no control over it, and our worrying and our anxiety doesn't do anything to change the situation for the second coming of Christ. We need to serve the Lord and pray and study and be ready, like the thief coming in the middle of the night. The homeowner, if he was aware of the time, would have been awake. We need to be awake and aware and waiting. Advent provides us with this time of waiting. And it's an opportunity for us to change our daily routine and our daily disciplines and add something new. An opportunity for us to expand our knowledge of Christ in the world, to help people, to reach out, to take on something new and not be complacent and comfortable where we are, but find something that will challenge us and grow us and expand us. I challenge each of us to look for something, an Advent study, or changing and reading morning and evening prayer, or morning prayer, or reading the lessons for each day, and expand what we do in preparation for the arrival of Christ. And in starting this and being ready and doing this now, it changes us so that we can carry it through into our daily disciplines for the rest of our lives. An opportunity for us to expand and grow. Amen.